Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. I decided to make another video. Today's video is coming very late in the season. I apologize, but this is my July indie video. As you guys know, I'm a big fan of Indie April and indie books in general, but I think we should be reading them more than only once a month in April. So every month since Indie April, I've been showing you a selection of 4 to 7 indie books that I'm trying to read that month and just bringing awareness to them so that you guys can check them out and so that we can just get more indie books in our bookish spaces. If you're not caught up on this series and you're like, what the heck is an indie book? What aren't all books the same? No! Most of the books you see behind me and around me and, that you see on the internet are traditionally published books. That means they go through a literary agent, get sent to a publishing house, and are mass produced by a publisher, which is cool, which is great, but it's very selective and hard to actually become an author that, is traditionally published. So a lot of authors will turn to self-publishing or independent publishing in order to get their books out into the world. And a lot of these books are really, really incredible books. There has been a stigma for a long time that indie books don't belong in the same spaces as traditionally published books, but that is nonsense and I do not stand for it. Indie books are having an absolute renaissance right now, and I am lucky enough to have a lot of indie author friends who send me their books. I also purchase indie books that I hear about if I think they sound interesting, and I really want to share them with you guys. So today is the very possible last moment for me to do an Indie July video. It just got pushed to the side because unfortunately I've got a lot of stuff going on. I'm fine. I'm fine. But for Indie July, I have 5 book series to talk to you guys about. 3 of them are currently available for purchase and 2 of them are coming out at the beginning of August. So let's get started. The very first book that I want to share with you guys is a sci-fi adventure, and I actually have an ARC of it, so an advanced reader copy, that was sent to me by the author named Callum Lott, and his book is coming out August 2nd this year. This book is called Dirge For Cascius. Here's the cover, and it is the first book in an epic space duology. Callum describes this space opera debut as True Detective meets Hyperion, which does sound very, very epic in scale. Our main character Cassius is on the brink of destroying his entire life. He is addicted to reliving the events of the past 2 centuries. I believe he is a detective and he has to take on a new partner in order to solve some crimes. The Red Hand Murders. I'm really interested in this book because it's been on my radar since the cover reveal happened, and it looks very fantastical based on the cover. But then I found out it's a space opera murder mystery, so I'm really excited to dive into. Well, my camera stopped recording. I was trying to say that I'm very excited to dive into A Dirge For Cascius because I want to figure out how it's so fantasy but also a space opera. I've read some of Callum's short stories, which you can get via his newsletter, and I really like his writing. It's very engaging, very interesting, exciting, and it just has a very stylized quality to it. So I will put a pre-order link for this book in the description. But let's talk about the next book. I have had this next series on my TBR for quite a while because I actually met the author, JC Duncan, at FantasyCon in 2021. I forget. But this is histfic, and if you've been watching my videos, I'm in my histfic era. Let me use this book to get hair out of my mouth. Did I say Hera? I'm in my historical fiction era, so I think it's finally time for me to read this series, Light of the North Saga. This is an alternative history set in 1116 AD. There have been 300 years of Viking raids, but Christian Europe has finally aligned against the pagan Norse kingdoms, and it's the story of a young German swordsmith who gets caught up in the mix. If you've been watching for a little bit, you'll know that I'm coming to the end of the Warlord Chronicles by Bernard Cornwell. So I am really looking for another battle-fueled historical fiction set around this era, and this seems to be that way. We've got Vikings, we've got kingdoms at war, we have battles, we have accurate history, just lots of stuff that I'm really excited to read. I also have the second book here, The Fire of the Fallen, and first of all, I think that these covers are very stunning. This has a quote from Christian Cameron on the back, author of these books, and his quote kind of sums up my feelings towards what this series is going to be and why I'm excited for it. He says, "I thoroughly enjoyed the authenticity, the historical underpinnings, and the author's knowledge of smithing, which gives the book a fine steel spin. I've owned this series for way too long, and I'm looking forward to finally getting into it. I need my historical fiction fix." The next book A lot of people have actually read this one, but I don't think they know it's indie necessarily because it's a bit more popular than the rest that I'm talking about today. And it is Barnaby the Wanderer by Raymond St. Elmo. This book is nearly 800 pages long and it is a chonker. Raymond St. Elmo has been on my radar for a little while as well because he writes a lot of weird fiction. And I don't know if you can tell from what I'm doing right now, but I'm a weird girly. When I did my weird fiction video, the subgenre deep dive, a lot of you guys replied in the comments that I should check out Raymond St. Elmo. Not this book specifically, because this is more of an epic fantasy than his magical realism weird stuff, but this is the most intriguing one to me. Barnaby is a simple lad. His whole life he's been mocked for being the village simpleton, not village idiot, village simpleton. But today he is setting out on a journey with a penny in his pocket, a sack lunch on his back, and a treasure map. I know that this story is full of found family, of friendship, betrayals, demons, blood, horror aspects. I didn't see that coming, did you? And something called the Saint Cursed Tower that waits for these people at the end of their journey. I also completely respectfully think that this cover looks like it was drawn by a 5th grader, and I love it. It's really, really pretty, actually. Now, this one is, as I mentioned, almost 800 pages. She's real thick. And I know this is my July indie video, but realistically, I am going to be reading these books in August because today is July 26th. One of the things that I'm most excited about that book is the horror element, because if you don't know, I am a horror person. I've been saying girly too much, I feel. But I'm a horror girly. And I know it's my policy generally when authors send me books, I try to prioritize them. I prioritize them by physical books over digital books, but I'm supposed to go in order of when they're sent to me. But also, sometimes I just have to think about myself, okay? And I was sent an indie horror book recently, and I'm not often sent indie horror, so I actually did bump this one up the TBR quite a bit. H.T. Boyd reached out on Instagram to see if I would like a copy of his body horror Leutogi, and I said yes. I'm a little nervous about this book because it is ED inspired, so trigger warning for eating disorders, but it's described as a horror comedy. And it sounds intriguing and funny, and I really like the cover. I think it's very simple and very nice. It's set in 2001, and a Manhattan socialite named Egret is doing everything she can to be thin. Relatable. The socialite part, obviously, is what I'm talking about. She hears whispers of an exotic tapeworm in Australia that could help her lose weight if she were to be infected by it. So, obviously, she and her son travel to the outback to get a tapeworm, and things unfold. It's unclear if the demons of her past she's facing are literal or figurative, but I'm intrigued. I think if this book is done respectfully and cleverly, that it could be a real winner. I will keep you guys updated. It's pretty short, and this is the author's debut, so I have high hopes for Leutogi, but I will keep you updated on what I think of it. Obviously, check out content warnings before you pick this one up. And the last book I have to show you guys today, the 5th book, although I did talk about some series, so it's more than 5. This one is from a site that I forget to talk about a lot of the time, but finally I have, the timing lines up that I get to talk about this. I get to remind you guys that I am a reviewer for Readsy Discovery. Readsy is a tools platform for aspiring authors where you can connect with industry professionals to work on your books. The discovery portion of the platform is where independently published books can live and you can read them. The way it works though is that before the books are actually released to the public, the in-house reviewers such as myself take a look at a couple of different titles that are interesting to us and we review them so that once they go up on their publication date, you've got a review from someone you trust to tell you all about the book. You guys trust me, right? So I'm reviewing a book that is coming out August 16th. Unfortunately, I can't tell you all of my thoughts on it because contractually those thoughts belong to Readsy. But I will link the review below once it's available. It's not available on the date that the video is going up. But we have another sci-fi thriller here. Isn't that interesting? I am nearly done reading Broken Mirror, Resonant Earth, Volume 1 by Cody Cisco. This story already has 2 volumes, but they're not published out in the world yet. The first one, Broken Mirror, Resonant Earth, Volume 1, is going to be available on Readsy Discovery on August 16th. The second part is called Tortured Echoes. I'm not sure when that one is coming out, but I'm thoroughly enjoying the first one, so I will keep you guys updated on the second one. The story is set on a near future Earth, and it starts pretty hard sci-fi, but it does become a little bit more cyberpunk as we go. The main character, Victor Eastmore, is chronically ill in a way that makes him not the most reliable narrator, but he is pretty sure that someone has murdered his scientist grandfather, Jefferson Eastmore. He knows that if he pursues this murder mystery line of thinking, he could really possibly lose his freedom, but he teams up with his friend to figure this out. This book contains a lot of geopolitical commentary, as well as commentary and criticisms on climate change, gun laws, AI. It has a lot of LGBT rep, including trans rep, and there's actually a Kirkus Reviews quote that I think is key here. Kirkus says, "This is a fantastic science fiction thriller with a sincere and important message." And I agree. I'm not finished the book yet, but I'm really enjoying it. I think the writing is very engaging and the messages are important as stated. And I think the author uses a lot of unique storytelling methods to give us that unreliable narrator aspect that I love so much. And hey, that was all 5 books. Sort of. I know I waited till the last possible second to film this video, and honestly, I think the August indie video is going to be chasing this one pretty closely just because I do have to get things back on track. But thank you again to the authors who sent me their books. That's Callum Lott, H.T. Boyd, and through Readsy Discovery, Cody Cisco. I have linked all of these books down below. Let me know if you're interested in any of them, or if you are intending to pick them up, or if you have already picked them up. Or otherwise, are you reading any indie books right now for Indie July? Which is a real thing that I didn't make up just now. Before I go, don't forget to like and subscribe and ring the bell icon so you know when I upload new videos. I upload 2 days a week. I love you guys. Goodbye.